Good evening and welcome to the June 6, 2016 regular meeting of the Mayor and City Council. The first item on our agenda this evening is the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like to invite several students from Diamond Elementary School to the podium. Jack and Ethan and Caroline, Owen and Elizabeth, please come to the podium. Everyone rise and they'll lead us in the pledge. Go ahead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. The next item on our agenda is the reflection, and I'm going to call for a moment of silence, but I wanted to bring up a tragic situation we had here in the city on Friday. 16-year-old student at Gaithersburg High School, Santos Escobar Villatoro, had a tragic bike accident on 355. He was hit and killed, and for us in the city, our hearts go out to this boy and to his family and to his friends and to the high school community, and our hearts also go out to the young driver of the car that hit him. So we'll be thinking of him during this moment of silence. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda, we have approval of minutes. Tonight we have 3 sets of minutes, the first being from the regular session held on May 2nd, 2016. What is the pleasure of the council?
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
And we have 1 abstention. So those minutes pass 4-0-1, the abstention being Henry Marafa. Next is the minutes from the May 9th work session. What is the pleasure of the council?
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I don't know if I can second because I'm abstaining, but
You were present at this meeting.
I don't think so.
This is for May 9th.
May 9th.
May
Oh,
9th,
okay.
yeah.
Yes.
I'm
Well,
abstaining.
Yeah, Henry's abstaining.
Henry's
So-
abstaining. Then I renew my second.
Okay. Then all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And we have the 1
And one
abstention.
abstention.
Okay, so it passes 4-0-1. Next, we have the work session from May 23rd. What is the pleasure of the council?
Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
This one I will abstain on.
I will abstain as well. I was absent.
Okay, so this passes 3-0, 2 abstentions from Ryan and from Mike. Next, we have our consent agenda, and there's 1 item. What is the pleasure of the council?
I'll move the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries unanimously. Great. Next, we have presentations, and I would like to invite Mahita Damodara, I'll get that right, 4th grade student from Diamond Elementary, to join me at the podium.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Hi. Hello. So, 4th graders in the city of Gaithersburg were asked what new programs or services they would create to help citizens lead a healthier life and make Happy Town a safer place to live in a statewide essay contest sponsored by the Maryland Municipal League in partnership with the Maryland Mayors Association and the Chesapeake Employers Insurance Company. Students from 6 Gaithersburg area schools submitted 312 essays to the statewide contest. Maryland Municipal League selected one winner and 4 semifinalists from each of 11 regional districts. Mahita Damodara, a City of Gaithersburg resident, was chosen as one of the 4 semifinalists from District 5. This was quite a feat considering the level of competition with more than 2,600 essays submitted statewide. We have invited Mahita to come forward to read her award-winning essay and receive her certificate. So have at it.
Hello, my name is Mahita Damodara, and I'm from Diamond Elementary, and this is my If I Were Mayor essay. If I were mayor, I would try to change the image of Happy Town into a healthy town. My main plan to handle the problem would be to improve awareness by conducting a health fair. I would propose the idea of a health fair to the City Council and gain their approval. A fundraiser would be started to help organize it. I would meet the health department and other food-related organizations and discuss ideas to make the fair successful. Stalls with games to foster healthy habits, free tasters, and giveaways of healthy food and talks by doctors will be arranged. To promote an active lifestyle in Happy Town, I would conduct marathons to encourage people to exercise. To make Fitness Day a fun activity, we will have Zumba in local parks and family fun swim days at the town's pools. All council members, government officials, and I would set an example by participating in all these events. An anti-smoking campaign would be started with the council's approval by passing laws to increase taxes on tobacco products and restrict smoking in all public areas. We would raise awareness by explaining the bad effects of smoking and the different options available to stop smoking through posters and celebrity messages on TV. We will work with schools to teach kids about the importance of leading a healthy lifestyle by making the right food choices, exercising, and staying away from bad habits. The children can inform their families so that they will change and become healthy. I would also ask for feedback from the citizens on what else we can do to support the healthy habits of Happy Town.
Well done. For you, let's come over here with your family. This right up.
Do you think you could run a Gaithersburg Marathon?
2 different cameras.
Gaithersburg Marathon.
If we hold one, I guess I'll have to train for it.
Excellent. Congratulations. Thank you all so much.
Maybe I'll start.
Next, I would like to invite Yvette Monroe, who is the chair of our Educational Enrichment Committee, to join me up here. And I'd also like to invite members of the Diamond Elementary School community. I have the list: Dan Walder, principal; Robin Strauss, school counselor; Jack Perlman, SGA president; Caroline Rowe, SGA vice president; Owen Ellers, SGA secretary; and Ethan Berman, SGA treasurer. Please, everyone join me up here. And I'm going to let Yvette do the reading.
All right. On behalf of the Mayor and City Council and the City's Education Enrichment Committee, we would like to present a GREAT Award to Diamond Elementary School. GREAT stands for Gaithersburg Recognizing Educational Achievement Today, and it promotes and celebrates higher successes in Gaithersburg area schools. So Diamond Elementary School's award recognizes the Parent-Teacher Association and the Student Government Association for activities that encourage and demonstrate the pillars of character counts. And of course, if you don't know, this year, Gaithersburg is celebrating its 20th anniversary of character counts here in the city. The PTA organized food drives, the Andrea Verga Coat Drive, which collected 138 winter coats, hats, gloves, boots, and scarves. A dolphin dash that helped the residents of our community live healthier lives, and the dolphin is the school mascot. And students raised $900 for Jump Rope for Heart. The SGA also provided a toy drive for children in the community and promoted a Pass the Dolphin program at the school to recognize students displaying positive character. We congratulate the students, the staff, and the parents of Diamond Elementary School for their commitment to healthy living and for giving back to the community and for living by the 6 pillars of character counts.
All right. I'm going to let you guys, this is sort of the smallest thing that we ever hold up for photographs. But this goes onto a plaque that you guys are doing. All right, let's all look at the camera.
Yeah, 2 cameras. 2 cameras.
Several cameras.
I mean, the paparazzi tonight. All right, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Here. 1, 2, 3. And 1 more.
All right, would anyone like to say anything? Not, yeah, please.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. I'm the school counselor, Robin Strauss, and I would just like to thank our whole Diamond community, our parents, teachers, and students really do a wonderful job working together to have positive behavior and positive attitudes and really care about each other. And I want to thank them for all the things they've done this year.
Excellent.
Judd, before everybody gets away, I'd like to say something to all the Diamond Elementary kids that are tonight. For the first time in a long time, I don't have any kids at Diamond. I've had 2 generations, my kids and my grandkids, and the last ones left last year. So I've been involved with Diamond for a lot longer than I want to tell everybody. But so the end of an era, and I don't have anybody else on the horizon going to Diamond. So congratulations, it's a great school. And I'm obviously partial.
There's 2 of us here who are
Yeah.
very partial to Diamond Elementary School. I want to congratulate the school community and all students and staff and the parents. It's a great place to live, largely because of a school like Diamond. So,
Yeah.
thanks.
This is actually a banner year for Diamond. We have our junior mayor, and we have another essay contest winner,
2
and
years running.
2
Yes.
years.
On both.
yes, and all the work you guys have done to achieve the great award. So congratulations to everyone. Thanks for all you're adding to our community.
Right. Keep up the good work.
So next we have public comments, and this is the time where the mayor and council would like to hear from anybody who wants to speak on a topic that's not a public hearing topic. Tonight we have one public hearing. It is on the election code in the city. So if you're not here to speak about write-in candidates, then this would be the time for you to speak. We ask that you keep your comments to no more than 3 minutes. When you're down to 30 seconds, the timer will beep and turn yellow. When your time's up, it'll beep and turn red. Please state your name and either your address or your neighborhood for the record. Jim, I know you want to speak first. Come on up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Jim McNulty, President of the Saybrook Homeowners Association. Mr. Mayor, members of council, I rise today to report back on the positives being experienced in our neighborhood as a result of the parking test on Victory Farm, and to thank the city for allowing our residents to enjoy a quiet Memorial Day weekend. In years past, tailgating by non-Saybrook residents along Victory Farm has resulted in loud voices and car alarms in the middle of the night, beer cans, broken glass, and other trash strewn about neighbors' yards, and has interfered with the ability of our tax-paying homeowners to enjoy their own property. But thanks to this parking test, Victory Farm is a veritable ghost town, not just between the hours of 1 and 5 as outlined, but practically 24 hours a day. This test has shown that indeed vehicles are being left for long periods of time, and now the word is out that Victory Farm is not to be used as a park and ride. For the first time since this trouble started, our homeowners are able to enjoy their property in peace. Of course, it would be naive to think that there would not be pushback from those who had been using Victory Farm to park overnight. And we in the community are certainly aware of the passionate appeal by the gentleman who addressed council last month. But by the gentleman's own admission, he does not live in Saybrook. He was already walking a minimum of a quarter mile down Victory Farm to reach Saybrook. So we would respectfully submit that any hardship that's being imposed on this gentleman is not from the overnight ban on Victory Farm, but by his own HOA that is limiting how many cars can park at his own residence. We would also submit that a more proper solution would be to provide additional parking closer than Victory Farm. One possible option could be Girard Avenue. As council may be aware, Girard connects Summit Avenue and East Diamond with a traffic circle at Victory Farm. Girard is 2 lanes in each direction with a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. It's even a divided highway between Victory Farm and East Diamond with speed bumps, but there is 0 parking allowed on its length. I would submit that perhaps overnight parking could be allowed on Girard, as 2 lanes of traffic is hardly needed between 1 and 5 a.m. If you've ever driven Georgia Avenue in Silver Spring or other busy arteries, they ban parking during rush hour, but then open it up during the day. Why couldn't we do something similar? Allow parking during the hours when traffic is low to accommodate those who need it, and prohibit it during the day, or even add a full-time parking lane. My point is, there are closer parking options to the residents who are being inconvenienced than Victory Farm. When we made our plea here months ago, Councilman Marafa stated that when the rights of homeowners and drivers are put in conflict, he would err on the side of the neighborhood. I hope the rest of the council continues to feel that way, because drivers have multiple options of where to park. Our residents have only one home. It's their biggest investment, and the issues they've had to deal with not only affect their quality of life, but it drives down their property value and reduces the city's tax base. And for a city that prides itself in not being in debt, I would think that protecting its revenue stream would be paramount. This is one of those issues. I look forward to hearing the official results of the test when completed, particularly how crime rates and nuisance complaints in the affected area around Victory Farm during the test. One last sentence. But based on the feedback that I've received from those who live along Victory Farm, this test is already a success. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jim. Who'd like to be the next speaker? Come on up.
Hi, Steve Shapiro at Station House Court in Saybrook. Just my own unscientific, obviously, survey of the parking situation there. In driving the area at midnight or even later at times, noticeable difference. And I want to thank the council for moving forward with the test, and I hope that it becomes permanent. One other thing that I don't think was mentioned in all of this, and I noticed it the other day when there was an event at Kelly Park. I believe that this new parking configuration has made available more parking for those events at Kelly Park. Whereas before you had non-residents who would park there, for their park and ride and all that kind of stuff, and they would be taking up these valuable spaces during an event at Kelly Field. So those spaces are now opened up, and when there's an event at Kelly Park, that seems to help with the overflow. So just something to consider. Thank you.
Thank you. Who'd like to be the next speaker?
So, good evening. My name is Captain Lynn Slepsky, and I live on Bristol Downs.
Lynn, can you repeat that to the mic, because we didn't catch that.
Surely. Captain Lynn Slepsky, I live on Bristol Downs. I want to applaud you. It's working. It's quiet. There's no trash. There are no milling people. Moreover, I'm finally able to walk in my own neighborhood in the evening without having to bring my 104-pound dog out with me. Thank you. I really appreciate it. There has been some extension into our neighborhood. We knew that that was going to happen. We have cars that are on Oxley Place, Fairgrove, Dunwich, and Lavenham. Our little community over there, we call it the Villages, is 109 homes out of 478, or about 23% of our homes. Most of those don't have a driveway, don't have a garage. The only place that they can park are in our 99 community spaces. And we're having a few problems, but I'm here to tell you, we're gonna do a census. We're gonna implement some tags. So we're gonna know who belongs and who doesn't belong. And then we'll be coming back to talk to you about that. We do have one problem spot, and that's the 500 block of Saybrook View. That's where we have homeowners who actually pay taxes parking in front of their homes, and on the opposite side of the street we have parkers. So on my way out here tonight, there were already 3 down there, 5 closer to the walkout, 2 on Oxley, 3 on Lavenham, 2 on Dunwich, including a commercial vehicle by our standards, not yours. We'd really like to see no parking on the opposite side of the 500 block, because when you put 2 rows of cars, you can't get a car safely through that area. It's already a problem for school buses. We've got a little spot that's marked off, but we've got 3 places where we would really like to have those places taken care of. So please continue it. I love it. I can sit out in my backyard now again and break. I do hope that you're going to do something about Zika very, very soon, because I'm getting pretty worried. I'm hoping that you're going to put out some sort of communication about standing water, fountains, retention ponds, downspouts, and all of those other pieces. And if you need some help, I'm the person. Thanks.
Thank you.
Didn't we put out something on Zika? I thought we put out a press release on it or something, or forwarded something from the county.
I think we're working on something, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm Christine Rumney from Saybrook, and I've spoken to you before, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you've done for our community. I am one of the people who was afraid to go in my yard. I was finding people urinating in front of my house, late night fistfights, condoms thrown in my yard, afraid to go outside. My next door neighbors are moving because they don't want their child to be exposed to what's been going on. And, this has been in motion now, so they've already bought another house in Kensington. Excuse me. So I strongly urge you, and I sent an email to all of you and to Mr. Roman yesterday, to please make the ban permanent. And I would like to echo with, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to turn around. Sorry, I caught myself. What was said before, that I don't understand why the communities that these people live in aren't providing spaces for them. I understand they have covenants, but they also are making financial benefit from the people who live there, and yet they're not giving them places to park. That doesn't seem right to me. And I personally don't understand why the residents of those communities are not complaining to their property managers and to their HOAs. Why are they coming after us? The other thing I wanted to say is that Audubon Square also was part of this. The only thing you hear in the local media is that it's Saybrook against all these poor people. And I don't mean poor in a financial sense, but people that are suffering because of us. Audubon Square reported the same problems. It's not us against the world. They had experienced the noise. They asked for the ban. They experienced the trash. So this is a it's not just one community against others, and I think it's a shame that the local media has chosen to portray it that way. Thank you.
Do we have any other speakers this evening? Okay. Thank you. Britta, did you want to speak to the Zika press outreach?
Yeah. I'll just reiterate that we have members of the City of Gaithersburg staff who are serving on the Montgomery County Mosquito Control Task Force. Probably about 3 weeks ago at this point, and perhaps a month ago, we did update our website substantially with information about mosquito control in terms of standing water and preventing mosquitoes in your yards, but also protecting yourself. And that information was pushed out via press releases, social media, and also through our newsletter. And we continue to do that as we participate on this task force and continue to get information. It's in our weekly newsletter on social media, and we also push it out to our HOAs as well.
I recall seeing those, as well as the county's been putting out information as well.
Yeah. Do we have a video on our...
There's a whole sustained campaign going on with YouTube. As this mosquito control task force coalesces, we're sharing all of our information together.
Thank you.
Well, because of the odd weather we had in May, I think certainly now that it's warming up, summer's really here. The conditions are pretty ideal for breeding. So.
Did you want to speak?
Hi, I'm Rick Riley. I'm a realtor, and I just wanted to speak on behalf of the Saybrook community. I don't live in Saybrook, but I do business in Saybrook, and I have seen the change that the ban on Victory Farm has done to the community and how much nicer everything looks. Now, from my perspective, I see what it does to property values in a community when things are allowed to get to the point where people don't want to live there, and where people find like crime becoming a problem. And the parking ban on Victory Farm, it seems to me that it has lightened up the community and made people feel a lot safer. And it's a safety issue, it's aesthetics, it's the way it looks, it's all of the factors that go into keeping property values the way they are. Now, that is my business, so that's my perspective. But in fairness, I can see why the community would want to have this ban in place, because when you look at what has happened to other communities, you look in Montgomery Village, and you see some of the streets in Montgomery Village where the commercial vehicles are parked up and down the street, and the impact that has had. And Saybrook is not a very large community, so any impact on one street affects the whole community. And I think on a fairness level and on the fact that these people are just trying to maintain their peace of mind, their safety and everything else, I think the ban should be kept in place. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other speakers before we move on to our public hearing? Not seeing any. Thank you all very much. Next, we have a public hearing, and it's going to be led by Lynn Ward.
Thank you. You have before you this evening an ordinance to amend Chapter 6C, Section 305 of the City Code. This is the city's election section of the code. The proposed ordinance would change the time for registering a certificate of candidacy for a write-in candidate, so that a write-in candidate would be required to file no later than 6 days prior to the first scheduled early voting session in a general election. This ordinance was reviewed by the city's Board of Supervisors of Elections, and they have recommended its adoption. We are requesting this evening that you hold the record open until June 16th of 2016 at 5 p.m. with anticipated policy discussion on July 5th.
Thank you. Do we have any questions before we go to the public on this?
No.
Okay. This is the time where the mayor and city council would like to hear from the public. Anybody who would like to speak on this topic, again, we ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes or less, but any written testimony will be taken into consideration just as oral testimony. Do we have any speakers on this topic this evening? Write-in candidates. Okay. Not seeing any, then any comments before, or should we move to the record period? Anyone have any comments?
I just want to say that this is a good way. I was obviously opposed to write-in, but this is now putting them in some order where they do have some responsibility, so I think it's a good move and an acceptable compromise.
Well, it's really designed to address the issue of early voting, right? And the calendar for early voting, so that those candidates have to make themselves known before early voting begins. So.
Would you like to make the motion
Yes,
on the record?
I'll move that we hold the record open for 10 days until 5 p.m. on Thursday, June 16th, 2016.
I'll second it.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Carries 5-0. Thank you very much. Next, we have from the mayor and city council, and we're going to start with Council Vice President Sesma.
Oh, well, thank you. Again, it was nice to see so many folks here from Diamond. It's nice to see the meeting well attended, and I'm happy to hear at least some of the feedback from the community where we've tried to address these parking issues. It's clear that every action has consequences. Hopefully, most of those are positive, but there are people that are having to deal with it, with the consequences in terms of an ability for them to be able to park on public streets. And in some cases, it's not because, it's because of where they live has limited parking as well. So they're, residents, homes that are occupied with multiple car owners more than the spaces allow. So I think we're still going to have to, we still have to go forward with some plans, but and some potential solutions. I think we had we've heard some good suggestions, and we're waiting to hear what staff says. But I thank the community for their patience with this, and we'll see where it goes. So this is the first meeting we've had since the big to-do out here in City Hall on a rainy day, Gaithersburg Book Festival. So I want to congratulate our mayor, Mr. Judd Ashman, on the founder of the Gaithersburg Book Festival on another successful book festival. I think, when an event has become woven into the fabric of a community, that people count on it, they put it on their calendar, and they show up regardless of what the weather's like. So we had continuous drizzle pretty much, and a little bit of rain occasionally, but our tents were crowded for virtually every author. We had the entire book festival crowded, and I think that Politics and Prose probably did a pretty good business here in their bookstore. So if that's often a good sign that you have a good crowd and you have people ready to come and not only hear authors, their favorite authors or new authors, and become acquainted with them, but also to spend their money with our sponsors, and that included some vendors as well. We had opportunities for local artists, musicians, et cetera, to exhibit their talents, and we had a lot of opportunities for young families to be able to enjoy the book festival. So again, I want to congratulate the mayor on that. I think we've got to congratulate all of our volunteers. We had countless volunteers. We can't do anything in the city without volunteers, but we have an especially dedicated group of volunteers with this book festival. So I want to thank them again. Staff did an amazing job in getting this together, from Park and Recs to police and to all the other staff who volunteered their time to participate. So great success. Looking forward to the 2017 book festival. I think will be on May 20th. Okay, so put that on your calendar now. Remember, if you want to do anything in Maryland and you want to find a good day to do it, the date of the book festival is always a good day, as we exhibited 2 weeks ago. So anyway, May 20th, 2017 is the next Gaithersburg Book Festival. That's about all I have to add tonight. Just want to congratulate you all on that and thank everybody for participating. And I'm going to leave the rest of the announcements to my colleagues.
Thank you for those kind words.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Wu.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I'll join in Mike's great comments about the book festival. I had a great time. My wife had a great time. It's a fabulous event. I'm sure you're already starting to plan for next year, so I won't get in your way, but I look forward to
our first committee meeting is next week.
Let's see, the interesting proposition by Ms. Damodara, Gaithersburg Marathon. What do you think, Michelle? Can we pull one off in the near future? I have to beat Mike at something.
We have to run around the whole city twice.
You'll find something eventually.
Maybe. Just like to point out that Ramadan began yesterday. It's a holy week for our Muslim residents, so I'd like to, just for those that are practicing, just point that out and say, have a solemn and good holy week. This past weekend was Memorial Day. We had a great Memorial Day observance at Crispin Park. It had a great turnout. It was a great event, honoring great individuals who have given it all for our freedom. Prior to that, we had the Flags for Our Heroes event put on by the Montgomery Village and Gaithersburg Rotary Clubs at Borough Park, which is another fantastic event. Mayor Henry and Neil were there. I brought my family down there. It was a really wonderful event. Lots of events. Bike to Work Day was on the 20th. I'd like to thank the Transportation Committee for putting that together. Our bike stop, I think we were, by the time I got there, we were well above last year. So very good turnout. I'd like to commend everybody involved, including staff, in putting that together and executing it quite well. And I'm looking forward to celebrate Gaithersburg this Sunday. It should be a great time. I can't remember the 70s, and I wasn't alive during the prior decade, so I'm going to say 80s are probably my favorite decade. I'd like to just briefly follow up on an email that I sent to Tony regarding an issue that I would like followed up on. I've already pinged some of the council members on this, so I think I know where it's going to go, but I'll throw it out there anyway. Recently, the city voted to approve the city manager to enter into negotiations with Verizon to place a cell tower into Morris Park. I voted against it, and so I'm kind of in an odd position here. But I've really been looking at the cell tower issues. I've been looking at the information that was in the packets both this year and last year when the issue initially was raised. And there's some information I would like to see in that packet, particularly because we're going to have to vote on whether or not the lease is going to be improved in the future. So I just wanted to, briefly for the public, the information that I would be looking for is coverage data to justify why Verizon needs to be placing a cell tower in a park, as well as the research that they did in placing the cell tower in the park as opposed to other land. I mean, these cell towers have up to a 45-mile radius, and obviously topography impacts that. But I would just like to see more information from Verizon before we make the final decision to place this tower in one of our parks. And so I'll just throw it out there to see if I have any support, just to make this information request.
Do any of the council members wish to comment on this?
It's only information.
One of the things we asked Verizon to look at before they came back when this first proposed, when we looked at their plans, we asked them to look at other locations. So I understand the reasoning. I don't think it costs these companies money to come up with plans and look for various locations. So I don't think they do it lightly. I think that the fact that they do it for a variety of reasons, whether it's coverage, convenience of its customers, and service to its customers, as well as working with the city, not only as a as a company that offers its services to city residents, but also works in partnership with the city to make sure that the residents have access to those services as well. So I don't believe that they're going to propose something, a cell tower or any other facility that doesn't have a legitimate need and is well justified in improving service or providing the best service available for coverage. So the fact that they actually did look at other sites suggests to me that this is still a site that's is going to offer the best service for them and the best service for Verizon customers as well as our city residents. I think that it's well justified. I don't think the fact that it's on a light pole, an existing light pole, the fact that it's on a light pole means that it's not introducing a new element or facility into the environment where we have it. Where we've asked them to put it, as the original proposal was basically a freestanding tower in the park. So they've moved it. They've actually added it to a pole that already exists. It'll extend the height of that pole, but for the most part, I think it'll be obscured by the use of the pole. So I don't find any compelling reason to reopen this. Certainly, I think we can take your thoughts and ideas and discuss this as we anticipate we'll have requests for other facilities to be installed and look at the conditions and the criteria in which we'll approve those and the kind of information we ask for. But I don't see any reason to reopen this one.
Just a quick response, Mr. Mayor. I mean, I asked the city manager for that information, which is the other sites they considered, and what was provided back was they considered the commercial building next door to Morris Park. And so if they did consider other sites, then it should not be any burden to ask them to provide the information of what sites they did consider. So I'll just add that and throw that out there.
Any other comments?
I mean, I agree with Mike. I mean, we discussed it at some length. Putting this on a light pole is one of the most obvious places to put it. You know, there's no new tower. There's already other issues that the neighbors face. This is a good distance away from houses. It's on a light tower. There's ball games and lights and noise and kids playing. So the tower's got to be just another element, and I don't think it's warranted enough to reopen it. And as we go forward, we'll take all this into consideration as the new towers come on, but right now I think we need to leave things as is.
Anyone else?
Oh, do we need to survey everyone?
It's totally optional.
You know, for me, this as a process perspective, you know, generally, I'm not a fan of reconsidering or unwinding just final decisions that have already been made unless there's a truly compelling reason. And while I think you know, Rob's questions are interesting and should be considered moving forward in the future, potentially with other sites, you know, frankly, I don't find it to be a compelling reason to have to reopen a decision that's already been made final. We've already considered a number of these sites over my time on the council, and I found the process to be fine without any real, you know, major problems or concerns, particularly in the way that the providers have managed to integrate their towers into the park facilities that we've already had performed over the last several years. And so given that, and given that I don't really feel that there's any truly compelling need to reopen this particular issue, I'm going to pass. But I appreciate the effort to try and gather as much information as you can.
Okay.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, could I just ask a procedural question for Lynn? My understanding is that the vote was to authorize the city manager to negotiate.
Correct.
And that's as far as it went, so nothing's final.
That is
And
correct.
so we do have various opportunities to consider more information in the future as we delve into the topic of whether or not we should sign a ground lease with Verizon to place a cell tower in the middle of Morris Park. So nothing's, just to...
Can I interrupt you?
I-
You keep characterizing this as placing a cell tower in the middle of Morris Park. It's being placed on top of a light pole. It's not intruding on it. It's not creating another facility. It's using an existing facility and placing a cell tower on top of that. So, you know, let's be, if you want to, if you want the public to know what we've done, this is what we've provided. This is the access that we've provided to Verizon. It's not in the middle of the park. It's on a light pole that happens to be in the outfield of both ball fields in that park. That's where it is.
Rob, go ahead and finish your point.
Oh, no, I was just asking a procedural
Yeah,
question.
I mean,
with
I think
Lynn.
that the question was, this did come to the mayor and council, and you all did authorize a resolution authorizing the city manager to negotiate the lease, but not to execute. So this will come back to you at the future for authorization for the city manager to execute. So there's certainly the opportunity to ask additional questions or seek additional information as part of that process.
Okay. Okay. Well then, Rob, did you have anything more?
No, I mean, I just want to, I've kind of been peppering this behind the scenes, and I at least appreciate the candor of my colleagues and the back and forth that we've had
Right.
as they try to mentor me through this first 6 months of my sitting up here.
I'd like to just add one piece, which is that it's very difficult in these kinds of situations to balance the needs of everybody. And everybody includes a phone company that hears from its cell phone clients that they want better reception. The reason that I wouldn't really want to reconsider it, considering that we've been down this road before, and I think we've talked through the issues as everyone's expressed, but also It's, at this point, changing the rules of the game essentially is unfair to the vendor that's coming through, that's basically has to at this stage of the game spend a fair amount of money on engineering and other plans to figure out what's going on. So what their request was, in my understanding last time, was let us know if you're likely to go ahead, assuming a deal can be cut on the normal terms, and before they make the investment going the rest of the way. I think this city's policy has generally been to try to be reasonable to work with, and not like some other other governmental organizations that we hear about, where you don't know where you stand. So I think once we make a call, I'd prefer, whether it's for residents or for businesses or whoever, that we play fair and stick with it. So that's why I'm staying the course here.
Would you support requesting it if it does not cause Verizon to current? If they've already got the information, what does it hurt? I could call them, I guess, but they'd probably be easier for Tony to call.
I was under the impression that we had kind of already told them that before we voted at that meeting, that we were interested in that, and Tony and they had a conversation. And I don't know if I were them, how much information I'd want to give out anyway, in terms of well, we looked here, we looked there. So anyway, it just doesn't seem. It just seems like we're trying to change the rules past the point of where we should be doing that sort of thing. And again, as everyone said, each time an issue like this comes along, I'm happy to have the discussion and make sure that we get as much information as we're comfortable asking for, and that's fair to all parties.
Okay. We're going to move on to Councilmember Marafa.
Well, I want to thank everybody from Saybrook.
Oh, wait.
I'm sorry. I'm monopolizing. I just have to read something that the mayor gave me. Open house announcement. Former Consumer Product Safety Commission site notice to the general public is hereby given that members of the mayor and city council plan to attend an open house hosted by the Planning Ad Hoc Committee for the former CPSC site on Wednesday, June 8th, 2016, from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. The open house will be held at 10901 Darnestown Road, Gaithersburg, Maryland. A tour of the site with an opportunity to see renderings of the proposed park design will begin at 6:30 p.m. A formal presentation will be held at the warehouse building on the property immediately following the open house. The presentation will detail the process for the development of the proposed designs and allow for questions and answers. The Planning Ad Hoc Committee will also be collecting feedback on proposed design options. Please contact Deputy City Manager Dennis Enslinger at 301-258-6310 for more information, or if you need accessibility accommodations.
Thank you. Henry.
Well, I want to thank everybody from Saybrook who came out. This parking issue is a very delicate thing. And I'm just looking forward to the analysis by our staff when they finally finish the test. It'll be interesting to do it. One of the things that I have always done is I want to protect our neighborhoods. And in my own neighborhood, when it was built a number of years ago, we actually closed an entrance for a lot of the similar reasons that they talked about. So keeping neighborhoods intact is important. But at the same time, in all fairness, people have to park. And so I mentioned at one of our meetings to the city manager that we really are obligated to look at parking for commercial vehicles, because a lot of neighborhoods don't allow commercial vehicles, overflow vehicles. What do we do? So some comprehensive studies need to be part of this analysis. So I'm glad everybody's out. I'm glad it's working out. And like I said, it's amazing what a little bit of things like parking or bad rentals will do to a neighborhood. And I personally will fight that to, as strongly as I possibly can. But thanks for coming out. We had 2 Memorial Day services, which we did. It's always a solemn ceremony. We've been doing it for a long time. Robert and I being the veterans there, so congratulations for your service. We had a really nice turnout in good weather, and the flags for our heroes. There was a lot of flags. I think there was over 500 flags out there. One of the things you can do that I brought up at the ceremony is that the City Hall does maintain a book of attributes. So if you have somebody, a hero that was in the service, you would like to put their information about what they did, where they were, even a photograph, go out, fill up the forms, and they will put it in the book for review by anybody who comes to City Hall. So keep that in mind. I was not able to go to the book festival because of my health reasons and the rain, but I was there in spirit, and like always, it was a great event. And Judge, you need to be congratulated as well as volunteers and the staff. It's a great, great event, and I'm so glad to see it's always working. So I also probably will not be in a meeting for the next 6 weeks. I think I'm going to be one more meeting. As you know, I've been accepted to Johns Hopkins for my transplant, and so I'm excited. I'm very, very, very happy, but time will be not on my side. I'll be gone for about at least 6 weeks that I know of. So thanks again, as I've said to every meeting, for all of your support, your cards, your letters, your thanks, and your prayers.
We will save your place for those 6 weeks, gladly.
Yep.
Councilmember Spiegel.
Thank you. Well, I don't have too much to report this evening. As some of you know, I was actually traveling out of the country the last couple of weeks of May. So regrettably, I was not able to attend the book festival, and I was not able to attend our Memorial Day commemorations. But I think, Mayor, you'll be happy to know that as far away as Israel, I was promoting the book festival for next year. So it was a good trip, but glad to be back. I do have a formal announcement on committee vacancies. The Mayor and City Council are seeking members to serve on a number of city boards, commissions, and committees. Joining a committee is a way to get involved and help your community. The following have vacancies. The Animal Control Board has vacancies for one alternate public at-large or business community and one alternate representative of the Montgomery County Veterinary Medical Association, or someone who shall have training and or experience in the proper training or care of animals. That position will remain open until filled. The Board of Appeals has a vacancy for one full and one alternate position. Both will remain open until filled. The Commission on Landlord-Tenant Affairs has one full tenant representative and one alternate tenant representative. Those positions will remain open until filled as well. And there are also positions available on the Community Advisory Committee, the Cultural Arts Advisory Committee, the Educational Enrichment Committee, the Multicultural Affairs Committee, the Police Advisory Committee, the Senior Advisory Committee, and the Transportation Committee. If you're interested in serving on any of the above, please send a letter of interest and a resume to Mayor and City Council, 31 South Summit Avenue, Gaithersburg, Maryland, 20877, or via email to cityhall@gaithersburgmd.gov. And for more information, you can visit the city's website at gaithersburgmd.gov or contact the city manager's office at 301-258-6310. And I'll just finish up by saying I'm really looking forward to our Celebrate Gaithersburg Festival coming up. In particular, one of the highlights of the year for me is always the naturalization ceremony for our new citizens, which kicks off the Celebrate Gaithersburg festivities at noon. So that should be a wonderful event. I encourage folks to come and observe or participate. And then this is our last formal meeting before Father's Day, so wishing all the dads out there a happy Father's Day. And just want to say, as on a personal note, that I'm really glad to see our colleague Henry doing so well in his progress towards his treatment, and we continue to keep rooting for you. We know you're going to do great.
Thank you.
Excellent. Councilmember Harris.
Hello, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So first of all, an event that didn't actually happen. This past Friday, we were supposed to do some sky watching at Observatory Park. Sadly, the sky was not cooperative. So I want to show everybody what you missed. Saturn is at opposition right now, meaning it's as close to the Earth as it gets each year. And this is what you would have seen, although probably not quite as big in the telescope. But if you've never seen Saturn and its rings in a telescope, it's literally awesome. It's really wonderful. So there are a couple of other sky watching events at Observatory Park coming up. On July 25th, there's actually a daytime event. There's a picnic from noon to 4 where there will be solar watching. And yes, you can look at the sun through a telescope with the proper filtering. And that is fairly amazing as well. July 9th in the evening, there'll be the Moon and Jupiter are getting very close in the sky. And August the 12th from 9 p.m. till 1 in the morning is the annual Perseid meteor shower, which again, if you've never seen it, it's a spectacular show. It's you have to stay up late because the show gets much better once you get past midnight and the Earth is actually heading into the shower. But again, awe-inspiring. Hopefully the skies will cooperate as we go forward. Want to also say for the residents of Saybrook that, and I'll start, this will be a slightly longer story than you think, but I've got myself a new bicycle with an electric motor so I can make it all over town. And I bicycled through your neighborhood and through Victory Farm and saw that the parking situation seems to be way better than it was before. So happy that things are working out. Hopefully we'll keep it going. Also bicycled through Wesley because I know they've had some questions about some potential issues coming up in their neighborhood, and got my eyeballs on what the streets look like there. So I have a stronger opinion on at least what the neighborhood character is at this point. Also, a couple of quick things. Attended, as my colleagues did, the Memorial Day services. The Flags for Our Heroes is really a great event, and just the sight of all those flags on the lawn, especially at night in front of Borough Park with the lights, is a great thing. Also, really enjoyed the public art unveiling at Borough Park. If you go to the front of the building now, sitting on the bench is a statue, like pretty much life-size, I guess, of our former Mayor Borer, who I never had the pleasure of meeting, but I've heard wonderful things about. And so now he's there looking after our city from now till whenever. And the book festival was also, as everyone said, great event. Mr. Mayor, how about David Ignatius next year, huh? Local, good author, good columnist. Just good opportunity to put in a special request. So I have the pleasure of announcing other upcoming events that don't involve skywatching necessarily. Gaithersburg's popular summer camp programs start on Wednesday, June 22nd. There's still time to sign up your children for an action-packed summer. Enjoy free summer outdoor entertainment and exercise at the City Hall Concert Pavilion. City concerts followed by craft activities take place on Thursday mornings through July. Wind down the workday with Thursday evening concerts in June, July, and September. Enjoy yoga on Tuesday evenings through July, while Zumba continues Friday evenings through the end of August. Gaithersburg's farmers markets offer fresh local produce and more on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. in Kentlands and on Thursdays from 12:30 to 6 p.m. in Old Town. Check out proposed plans for a new park at the former Consumer Product Safety Commission site on Route 28 during the open house on June 20th at 6:30 p.m. The 34th annual Celebrate Gaithersburg in Old Town Street Festival is happening on June 12th from noon to 5 p.m. Come for live entertainment, including the Battle of the Decades, the Taste of Gaithersburg, Dogfish Head Beer, a pop-up maker space, amusements for all ages, and much more. And by the way, the 60s were awesome.
I'll second that.
No frame of reference.
It's clear that's true.
Don't worry, Rob. They don't really remember the 60s either.
I was this big, but still. The musical parody, The Drowsy Chaperone, is on stage at the Arts Barn June 10th through the 26th. Dogs and cats can get free vaccinations at June 19th Rabies Clinic at the Montgomery County Animal Services and Adoption Center. Dad plays free, awesome, with a paying customer on Father's Day at the Miniature Golf Course on June 19th. Casey Community Center is hosting a grand reopening and 40th anniversary celebration on June 20th. Gaithersburg is part of Montgomery County Heritage Days with activities at the Community Museum and Observatory Park on June 25th and 26th. And last and most spectacular, our 4th of July celebration has a new home at Borough Park at Summit Hall Farm. The park opens at 11 a.m. with special activities taking place at the skate park, miniature golf course, and water park. Note that the water park will be open for the exclusive use of city residents and aquatics members only on July 4th. Then, join in the ultimate lawn party when the Independence Day festivities begin at 5 p.m. with games, food, and activities, plus a lively concert featuring Millennium and the ever-popular Lloyd Dobler Effect. The spectacular fireworks display launches at dusk. Stay for the summer glow after party following the fireworks. The playground will be fully lit. The skate park is staying open until 11 p.m. and there will be glow-in-the-dark giveaways, a lively DJ, and late-night snacks. Visit the city's website for parking and viewing maps. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil.
So Lloyd Dobler, wasn't he from the 80s?
It's a great decade.
Was that that movie from the 80s?
Yes. Yeah.
Very late 80s. But
it was the 80s.
Okay. I want to thank my colleagues up here for the kind words about the book festival, and Mike really did a pretty comprehensive job of thanking everyone. It was. I've spent a lot of time since the book festival thanking our volunteers and our staff and our authors, and really, it's hard. It's very much heartfelt. We had our most challenging book festival. Our staff had an extraordinary chance to shine, and they did. And our attending, it was a very validating experience to have rain from dawn to dusk, and still have 12,000 attendees at the event. So it was an amazing showing. We had a tremendous program. I can't thank the people at the dais enough for their support and involvement over the years, and whether you were able to make it or not, I know you guys were there in spirit. And our staff was spectacular, from all different departments, particularly from Parks and Rec, of course, who do the heavy load in planning, and as we saw the forecast shape up for that day over those 10 days, just to watch them prepare and do everything we possibly could to make it as best as it could. They did a great job, and I want to thank everybody who attended for taking the time and braving it. We had a great program, and I hope you enjoyed it. And we're going to have hopefully better weather from now on, and look forward to the 2017 book festival. I also want to congratulate staff, join my colleagues again in putting together a terrific Memorial Day service as always. As has been mentioned, I hope everyone can join us as we celebrate Gaithersburg on Sunday from noon to 5 here in Old Town. And next Monday, we will have a work session and update on Montgomery County's comprehensive economic strategy. And I will move on to the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilmember Harris, for reading the announcement about the fireworks. As you all know, the fireworks test went really, really well. We got some great media coverage out of it, and staff is now busily creating the maps of the viewing areas and the parking areas. We really think it's going to be a great show. I attended a meeting at Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments relative to the Safe Track program, which is WMATA's year-long plan to improve the safety and reliability of the Metro Rail system. There will be impacts that will hit pretty close to home. The general manager of the system made a presentation and gave out the timing. Shady Grove specifically will be single tracking for 10 days in August from the 8th to the 18th, which he characterized as just like a blizzard, only you know what day it's going to show up and how long it's going to last. So our own Britta is on the Public Information Officers Committee of COG, and we'll be pushing out information that they provide us relative to the closures. The bus, they'll be supplementing the line with buses, etc., to what they're called bridging between stations. But it's going to be a mess, but it has to be done. And if they can get it done in just 10 days between Shady Grove and Twin Brook, that to me strikes me as really, really working hard.
Yeah.
So good for them. And finally, I wanted to recognize one of our own, Dennis Enslinger, who is here somewhere. Dennis and I are both members of the International City Managers Association, and Dennis received his designation as credentialed manager a few weeks ago, which is a real important milestone. There's actually only a few working in Maryland as managers or deputies, so I just wanted to congratulate Dennis and her public.
I do want to mention before we move on to economic development, Tony, and I know Tom's not here, that to those in the audience, those watching, we're going to need your help getting the word out about July 4th. Most definitely, 100% chance that people will show up to the fairgrounds. We're trying to minimize that to get the word out and let everyone know it's going to be at Boer Park and where. And if you don't want to come out to Boer Park, where the good viewing areas are. So we hope we can count on you to help spread the word through social media and through listservs and what have you. Tony, please.
Absolutely. That's all I have. I can also do the economic development
Yes,
update,
please,
which is
go
very short. Tom is in San Francisco for the Biotechnology Industry Organization annual convention. I've done that convention a couple of times myself. It's an enormous undertaking, and he'll be there for 3 days, and he'll give you a report on his activities when he gets back.
Great. Next, we have ordinances, resolutions, and regulations. And speaking of Dennis, he's going to lead us through this first one.
So the first item I have for you tonight is a request to adopt a resolution related to the fiscal year 2017 strategic plan. For those members of the public who aren't familiar with this document, it does serve as the guiding document for the development of the FY17 budget and along with the work plans for the various city committees. The City Council and the Mayor reviewed the draft strategic plan back in February 29th and as part of their planning retreat and provided some input. Some of the changes that we made this year that were fairly significant related to trying to incorporate what used to be some goals and objectives in the budget have now been incorporated actually into the strategic plan. In addition, we really tried to modify the critical measures that were in the strategic plan. Often the critical measures were really just data points. We've actually really focused on creating an analysis of those data points in relationship to something. So you'll see a lot of changes related to those items. Should the council adopt the resolution, the fiscal year 2017 strategic plan would replace any previous adopted versions and would be accessible on the city's website.
Thank you, Dennis. My personal opinion is that you and staff have done a terrific job with the strategic plan. Who'd like to comment or?
I'll make a comment since I was involved when we first started putting this together, and I think it was 1995, 96, when we met on our first retreat and put the whole strategic plan together, the original one. And
97.
96, so I voted on every one, and it gets bigger and better every year. Congratulations to staff who worked on all this.
Just like to say is this is my first strategic plan, and it was my first strategic planning retreat, and I found it very useful. I applaud staff's engagement and their ability to respond to us on the spot as we were sitting there. And of course, having a document that says where we're going is, I think, vital to a city. So just commend everyone.
I think as a planning exercise, we're getting better at it. We were always pretty good, but I think we can always improve, and this is another example of how we've done. I think Robert's observation of how quickly staff is able to respond to issues that we raise is something that we've come to expect, but it should be acknowledged and recognized that staff has done that. I don't see anything in the draft that needs to be changed or tuned further. It's a dynamic document as it is, or plan, and I think that if we look at it that way, then we're always going to be in pretty good shape as a guide for how we think about going forward. So.
Any other comments, or would someone like to move the resolution?
I was actually hoping Dennis would read it to us. For the sake of those in the audience, it's about 114 pages long, so I wasn't really very serious. No, I also think, the document gets stronger every year. There's a lot more in terms of measurables, and so that we can really not just see what the plan is, but how it performed last year and make course corrections, and it really guides budgeting decisions. So I think it's a really, really strong process, and hopefully we'll continue to get better as time goes by.
Well, I'll move to approve the strategic plan for 2017.
I'll second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries 5-0. Thank you very much. Next, we have the fee schedule.
So the next item is a request to adopt the FY17 fee schedule. Again, the fee schedule contains fees, charges, fines, and forfeitures that the city establishes, and each year we adopt a new fee schedule. Usually there aren't a whole lot of changes. There were some changes that we presented as part of the budget document previously. We've added a few more within regard to that. Most of those relate to planning and code changes, and I can go over those, and then one additional fee related to parks, recreation, and culture. And if you have any questions regarding those fees that we changed from the original draft to the document that you have tonight, I'd be happy to answer those.
Great. Do we have any questions?
I was hoping he'd read the fee schedule to us, too.
It's another 100+ pages almost.
It's pretty comprehensive. I think you caught a lot of stuff from previous years. Seem to be reasonable adjustments to our fees.
Would you like to move the resolution?
I'll move the resolution.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries 5-0. Thank you very much. And next we have the budget.
The budget, which was my intention, thank you, Mayor, to have Stephanie Walker move for adoption this year, but apparently some people will do anything to get out of coming to meetings.
You know, didn't we forget to congratulate?
For those who are unaware, our Director of Finance Administration, Stephanie Walker, just had her first child.
She did.
And we meant to congratulate her, and I'm sure we all congratulate her, correct? We're all on board there.
That was my way of congratulating.
Yeah.
She worked right up, I mean, literally
Move that
left
we
work.
congratulate her.
As a baby. I mean, she worked right up to the day that she had the baby, so she's one of those people that I personally have to thank, along with the dozens of staff that work on this, all the public input that we get, and of course, all of you guys. Total expenditures for this year ended up being $66,633,000 approximately. As happens each year, there were a number of small changes, both positive and negative, to both the revenue and expenditure side. These occur after publication of the draft budget and prior to posting of the final budget. Cumulatively, those changes, which have to balance on both sides, totaled about $125,000, or about 0.2% of the budget. With that, unless I can answer any particular questions, the ordinance is ready for your consideration, or we can read it.
Tony, yeah, we can read it. I want to congratulate you and Stephanie and all the staff from all the departments who do all the work to put the priorities, the strategic plan that we here at the dais go through the process and put together to really flesh it out. And I think, as always, you guys have done a terrific job of reflecting our priorities for the city. And so thank you for all the hard work. And I'll leave it open for any other comments.
So I think we should also start referring to this as the award-winning Gaithersburg budget.
Yes, that's right.
Get commended by whatever association gives such awards. I've been reading through this budget for a number of years before I was sitting up at the dais, which is maybe a sign of mental illness. But you know, when I tell people that I'm part of a city government of a city that has no debt, that has a $50-some million a year revenue stream and has $100 million in the bank and pays for everything out of cash rather than borrowing money, frankly, they don't believe me, because they've never heard such a thing. It's like hearing that the Easter Bunny actually lives here in Gaithersburg. You know, and on a smaller scale, having been through a fairly significant catastrophe in the Kentlands with a collapse of a retaining wall that's going to cost the community $2 million. If we didn't have reserves put away, you know, it would have been a complete calamity. As it is, it's painful, but you can deal with it. So, you know, I'm all for having reserves, and it means that we can get through unexpected issues, and it also means that if there are opportunities that come up that require some amount of investment, it's much easier than having to go out and beg Wall Street for some money. So I think the budget is great. It's very understandable, and I think it's, you know, you should be commended for it this year and for the many years in the past that have led us to the situation where we are today.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
Well, it's hard to top that kind of comment, but I think that, you know, we've gotten, I think, the biggest change here in the last couple of years is actually having projected spending match actual spending, so that we know we're not over budgeting certain things. I think that gives us a lot more flexibility going forward. We have a budget that allows us to walk through the doorway of opportunity whenever it comes up, but also be able to deal with emergencies. What Neil said about trying to explain to people that we have no debt and we're pay-as-you-go, and we manage to be able to pay for everything that we want to go for. At the National League of Cities, it's unheard of, and it's usually unheard of for the second largest city in any state to be able to brag about something like that. So I think we're staff is to be complimented, and your leadership, Tony, and working with your division and team directors. It's you know, the budget, like the strategic plan, gets better and better, I think, in terms of how we look at it and how we use it, as well as to reflect the planning that we've done with the strategic plan. So.
Henry.
Well, not only we've been debt-free for all these years, we've only raised the rate of tax one time in 50 years. And we did that in a very, very stressful recession time. And having money in the bank means we can do things. If things change, things go down, we have the cash to take care of it without having to go to lend, borrow money, or to try to find some way to raise taxes and go through the whole process. We are well situated to take care of almost anything that comes facing us. And we've been very, very frugal and very, very good at running a city. We are studied in a lot of places on university on how to run a city, and it's something we need to be very proud of. And so congratulations, Tony, on the staff for doing a great job.
I'd like to echo the comments as well that have been made. It's impressive to me the amount of work that's gone into this, how transparent the document is, down to the line items, and we know how much the city is spending. John Q. Citizen can get on our website and find out exactly where the money's going. It's just very impressive and certainly award-winning. I won't get on my soapbox. You've already heard my spiel about how I view where I think the spending priorities for the city should, or not spending priorities, but how we should manage the tax rate and revenue. And I commend, I think it was Neil and Ryan had the discussion, that I think it's a good point that we should be looking at this at least in the future as we go forward. I know we had that long discussion. It was very late at night. One thing I would like to see in the budget, and I'm just throwing this out there, and I'll work with staff later to see if it's even feasible, is the budget's kind of there, and there was not enough information for me to tell what is needed versus what is desired versus what is shooting for the moon, without actually going down to the staff level to talk to folks about what their spending priorities are. If I could wish for something, I would like to see more of that in next year's budget, so that we do have an understanding about where staff wants to go, where their spending priorities are, because they're the guys and gals on the ground that are spending this money. And I want to support everyone in their spending priorities and making sure that they have the money that is necessary to do the job of the city. But I would also like some information as far as why is it necessary, what do you want if we did have the money available, stuff like that. But all in all, a great process and a great budget.
Did you want to add anything, Ron?
I'll just echo all the kudos that have already been offered to Tony and Stephanie and staff. And some other aspects of the budget have already been pointed out, but one of the things that I think has been a major accomplishment of the budget under Tony's leadership has been this transformation of the CIP. Because as many of us will remember, up until a few years ago, the CIP was really just myriad buckets of small and large projects, some of which were really just existing on paper and not making any progress in real life. And you consolidated those to focus our resources on 2 or 3 or 4 big projects where we can actually see real progress and get big things done for the city and its residents. So kudos on continuing to do that with this budget as well. I think the complexity and the size of this budget, while still managing to be accessible to the layperson, as Rob said, is really a wonderful reflection of, the budget itself has evolved and matured, but that parallels the way the city overall has evolved and grown over the last several years, and the way that we've been able to manage that while still being transparent, while still trying to be as fair and as thoughtful as possible in addressing existing challenges and future challenges. I think that really is a major accomplishment, and so I will add that to the kudos that have already been given tonight.
Okay, well with that, would someone like to move the resolution?
I'll move the resolution.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries 5-0.
I
Congratulations.
just feel like it would be remiss of me, given Ryan's kind comments about the CIP, that yes, I worked a lot to kind of get it in order, but that task is now handed over to Dennis, who's doing a great job with the Public Works team to actually get shovels in the ground and things moving.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you all, and we have just passed the budget.
Oh, he's certified to do all those things now, too.
Yes, he is.
Important. You're certified.
Wow.
So now we have consolidated policy discussion, and Lynn, you're
Yeah.
going to lead us in charter amendments.
Yes, there are 8 charter amendments that are before you this evening, dealing primarily in 3 broad category areas of elections, the mayor and council authority, and then finance. Some of these are substantive changes. For example, in elections, we are requiring now that candidates for the position of council have a 1-year residency requirement before the election. A lot of them are just a little bit of cleanup and clarification, particularly in some of the finance areas dealing with, as you'll just discussed, we don't really borrow money, but we wanted to clean up our provisions that set parameters for in the event that we would want to borrow money. Certainly, we held a public hearing on these charter amendments, and we received no public comments nor any comments for the record. These are before you this evening for adoption, and I'm happy to answer any questions. And yes, unfortunately, you need a separate motion for each one.
That was the first question. Okay.
And so do you have to be a natural-born citizen of Gaithersburg to run for office here?
No, you do not.
Okay. All right, so I'll tell you what. I'll call these out, and if anybody has any questions, ask, and if any otherwise or comments, otherwise someone can move the resolution. So the first one is to amend section 4. Comments, or would someone like to move the resolution?
I'd like to move the resolution.
For the public, we should at least say what this is for.
This is the 1-year residency requirement for candidates for council.
I'd like to move the resolution.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that carries 5-0. Next, the resolution to amend section 19, which says the council may pass any ordinance not contrary to the Constitution and laws of the state of Maryland or to this charter, etc.
It deletes outdated language.
Yes.
I'll move the resolution.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that carries 5-0. As we scroll down, next is section 24. And
This deals with removal of members of the Board of Supervisors of Elections and deletes the public hearing requirement.
right, thank you.
Move to approve.
Second.
Or pass.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? That carries 5-0. Next, we have section 41.
And this deals with the advertising requirement for the budget and makes the advertising for the budget and the constant yield tax the same.
Okay,
So moved.
Second.
all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Carries, any opposed? Carries 5-0. Didn't want to jump the gun there. Next is section 42.
This is a section of the charter that deals with appropriations for expenditures under the budget, and it clarifies when that appropriations need to be approved if they're for a specified purpose.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that carries 5-0. And next, we have section 44.
This is also another finance section, which deals with the operating budget and clarifies the definition of the general fund.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Carries 5-0. Next, we have section 54.
This deals with the city's authority to borrow money, and it makes it consistent with the financial policy that the mayor and council adopted several months ago.
So I think if we do vote for this, I think it's important that we say we're not intending to borrow money, but this allows us to do it just in case we have an emergency to do, that requires that.
And it's already been there.
It's already been there.
We're just cleaning it up.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries 5-0. Next, we have section 55.
This deals with the sale of bonds, and again, the city has not sold bonds, but in the event we would do so, it makes that consistent with the city's financial policy.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries 5-0. And
I think we did
we
8
got through
things.
it. Well done.
Great.
Congratulations.
Okay.
Need to get some water.
Now we have staff guidance, and we're going to bring up Maureen Herndon from our Community Services Division to talk about an opportunity grant recommendation.
Good evening. Actually, this is our last request from the Community Advisory Committee for fiscal year 16 to ask you for consideration of recommended funding out of the nonprofit opportunity grant. In the FY16 budget, up to $25,000 was authorized to provide grants to nonprofit organizations for services that are new or innovative or address emerging needs. Tonight, this Community Advisory Committee is recommending funding for an organization named Rebuilding Together in the amount not to exceed $10,000 to support needed home repairs for 6 city homes that are on a waiting list currently at this time. The residents of these homes are income qualified, and these repairs have been identified as those posing the most significant health and safety issues. Each of the homes are owner occupied. Work includes roof repair, kitchen floor and equipment replacement, installation of front door, wheelchair ramp, drywall repairs, and installation of a handrail on front steps. All 6 addresses have been confirmed as being within the city of Gaithersburg, and the work will be completed by the end of this fiscal year. If funded, reference to city code permit requirements will be included in the contract, and I've consulted with Kevin Roman on that. Rebuilding Together works with local governments and agencies, nonprofit organizations, corporate partners, and volunteers to provide emergency home repairs, energy efficiency upgrades, and accessibility modifications to the county's most vulnerable homeowners. And the CAC is asking for your approval of this award.
Thank you, Maureen. Do we have any questions?
Yeah, Maureen, I was going to ask you a question. The Community Advisory Committee, how do they find out about these houses? Who brings them up, or how do they?
Well, actually, the Community Advisory Committee doesn't look for the homes, but Rebuilding Together, as one of our area nonprofits, actually submitted an application and said, we have identified these homes. And most of the homeowners actually go to Rebuilding Together and say, you know, I'm within your income qualifications, I have some serious, you know, repairs that need to happen, and they actually apply and go through a whole application process with the nonprofit.
Good.
So they're kind of self-identified to the nonprofit.
So several weekends ago, I had a call from Senator Cheryl Kagan, who wanted to alert me to the fact that this exact organization was doing some work on a house in Gaithersburg. So I headed over and took a look. I was really impressed with the work they're doing. I mean, the money is just a drop in the bucket because it's mostly a house full of volunteers doing the actual repair work. So it's a great cause and a great organization. So it sounds like a good thing to me.
Yeah, highly reputable organization. They work all over the region.
They do.
And they do really good work.
Do we have a relationship with them now and provide funding?
We have for many years, as far as referring our citizens to them, and they've been on our hoarding task force. Actually, they were one of our founding members of the hoarding task force, but we've never had like an official grant. You know, they haven't been part of our RFP or grant fundees.
So that was going to be my question. This is great. This is a great opportunity for us to help 6 homeowners. Do we expect that we'll be seeing a request from Rebuilding Together annually, or is it an item that the CAC would recommend adding to the budget for future consideration? 6 homes is 6 homes. I imagine that if there's a list, the list is probably 3 or 4 times longer than the homes that we can fund with this grant. So do you anticipate that we'll see this again or another request?
I think, like, that's one thing that I think the Community Advisory Committee really likes about the opportunity grant. It gives everybody an opportunity from our side to take a look at some of the newer nonprofits, or at least the ones we haven't worked as closely with, to see the kind of work. And yes, potentially there is then that opportunity to say this issue should be addressed bigger. Let's put it into, you know, something we want to look at in a future RFP. There's never any guarantee, but that gives them the opportunity to take a look at that.
Oh, it's great that we're able to, you know, advance the partnership a little bit more this year.
Yep.
Just a final
The
question. I know
committee's excited.
Neil provided some anecdotal great feedback, and I think Ryan, I'm not familiar with this organization, just I want to make sure, you know, who are they? Are they reputable? Have we?
We work.
Yeah, they've been, last year or the year before, they actually, when they do that, it used to be called like Christmas in April type projects, just in April. They did a big house here in the city last year, so I think Louise has some information on that too. But we've worked with them for a long time for community services.
They have
at least 15 years.
They have a couple of different areas that they work on within the umbrella of home repairs. One is more like emergency home repairs, which I assume this is for. There's another which is energy efficiency projects for lower income folks, which is sort of less an emergency but still a good cause. And then maybe 1 or 2 other areas.
They're starting or expanding a handyman service, which I think would be really beneficial for some of our seniors and disabled, just really light things that they might not be able to do. And we have had clients, like I said, we've referred in the city individually to Rebuilding Together, and they've come in and done some really good work. I can think of at least 3 clients in the last 10 years that
Well, looking at the project that I saw, I mean, this was a house that had significant water damage from some leaky pipes, and they not only fixed the leaky stuff, but they replaced all the drywall. I mean, this was, I mean, at $10,000 for 6 projects, that's about $1,600 a project. I mean, this was tens of thousands of dollars worth of work on one home if you had to pay somebody to do it. So really, a lot of bang for the buck.
We've seen them do that through our task force too. It's pretty amazing what happens.
So do we need a motion for this?
This is guidance though, right?
This is guidance.
But you have to vote.
No, I think there's a motion because we need to spend the money.
So
I will move that we, I don't know if it's
support the grant request.
Move to support the grant request.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries 5-0. Thank you very much, Maureen.
Thank you.
Next is from the city attorney.
Nothing further.
Anything from any other staff? Dennis, come on up.
Just have one final item. In an effort to keep the mayor and council and the public apprised of CIP projects or capital improvement projects, I wanted to let you know we issued 2 task orders. The first one was for architectural design services to assess some conditions of the equipment bays at the Public Works facility, and that was issued to K2M Design for $6,995. And the second item was for engineering services. This is related to the Arts Barn Energy Upgrade Project, which is talking about replacing the existing boiler, cooling tower, and the control mechanisms for that. And that was also issued to K2M Design for $43,569.
Cool. Thank you for the update. Anything from any other staff? Not seeing anything. As mentioned, please join us on Sunday for Celebrate Gaithersburg, noon to 5 here in Old Town. Next Monday, our work session we'll have an update on Montgomery County's comprehensive economic development strategy. We thank you all for being with us. Until next time, let's do great things, Gaithersburg. We are adjourned.